Boris's Best of British Bulletin, episode 18, 6th of November 2020. Before kicking off this week, I need to show you all a new word that's made its way into the lexicon of UK politics. So here it is. Got that? Okay, let's roll. In Scots Tory news, Scots Tory Branch Office Supervisor DrossMP is on a mission to win hearts and minds. This week he was a keynote speaker on a policy exchange webinar, basically repeating his Tory conference speech to an enthralled audience. I happened to catch a bit of it and, well, just look at those viewing figures. Yes, DrossMP was being watched by the grand total of 13 people when I screen grabbed that shot. But I'll be fair to Dross. At one stage it did go as high as 16, but I was too busy making wanker signs at my phone to get a screenshot. Of course, as we know, England entered a national lockdown yesterday, and the furlough scheme was initially extended for 1 month. DrossMP made this heroic intervention on the behalf of all Scots.
Sir is right, the furlough scheme is UK-wide for the next month, but the crucial answer we need is, will it be available to other nations of the United Kingdom if, in the future, the science demands that further lockdowns are required anywhere in the country? And if he can't give that commitment, will he explain why it seems an English job is more important than a Welsh, Northern Irish or Scottish one?
The furlough scheme is a UK-wide scheme. If other parts of the UK decide to go into measures which require the furlough scheme, then of course it's available to them. That has to be right, and that applies not just now, but of course in the future as well.
But what Dross and co edited out was the same question being asked by the SNP about 2 minutes earlier, to which the Prime Minister responded with his usual waffle. But when his right honourable friend, the member for Murray, asks, then the sharp and concise answer is given. But we're nae daft Dross. We see through your wee parlour games. He also went on ITV News to say that the SNP were irresponsible to even think about leaving the UK whilst we're dealing with a global pandemic.
Is it really right that the SNP, some of their most senior ministers, are speaking about another divisive referendum next year when this country is still facing the pandemic that is taking lives, that is taking jobs? I don't think anyone expects their politicians in the next 5-year Parliament to be focused on party political issues such as independence for the SNP, separating Scotland from the rest of the UK. I don't think that's where the people are just now, and I think we've got to get back to the issues that people want us to focus on as politicians at both a UK level and a Scottish level, day in, day out, and that's education, health, the economy. All these issues deserve our attention, and we shouldn't be distracted by another divisive independence referendum.
But what Dross fails to mention also leads into this seamless segue into UK Tory news. As previously mentioned, England has gone into a national lockdown as of yesterday. If it lifts on schedule, businesses will then just have 8 parliamentary and 16 normal working days to implement any changes, do training in any new software and systems and permits to handle whatever post-Brexit trading arrangements the government agrees. But the government cannot currently describe those arrangements. Even if it lifts when planned, millions will still be isolating or working remotely, and few, if any, of these businesses will have had any significant income for 10 months. No cash reserves to pay for new software or legal advice or new procedures, etc. 8 parliamentary and 16 working days. No guidance, no money. Crack on. Imagine on Monday your boss came to you and said, here's a new legal framework. We need legal advice, software, permits, staff training. You've got 2 weeks, everybody's off sick, it's Christmas and there's no money. Well folks, that's what UK business is facing. 4.9 million companies. Even if you could get it done, there are, I repeat, 4.9 million businesses. Obviously, not all of them will need to change. But even if only 1% of them need to change, that's 49,000 bits of legal advice needed before they can act on any new trade deal. There are only around 2,000 international trade lawyers in the UK, and every one of the businesses needing legal advice will be dependent on trade. Otherwise, they wouldn't be seeking any legal advice on it. And again, all this supposes the government has even signed a deal by now. They're overwhelmed. Not just MPs, but the whole civil service. Practically every government in every country on earth is run ragged by COVID-19. They only have so much bandwidth, they can do little else. Even before COVID, experts warned UK civil authorities didn't have enough bandwidth to handle Brexit. We have Brexit, plus COVID, at 8 parliamentary days to do it. But I don't see DrossMP going on ITV News to say that the UK government are being irresponsible by not extending the transition period whilst we're dealing with a pandemic. Glass houses, Dross. Glass fucking houses. In Brexit news, Boris Johnson is still bravely asserting his position as an independent and sovereign nation, free of the binding ties of the oppressive European Union, by fiercely and independently waiting to see if Donald Trump wins the US election before deciding on, well, anything. In Chumocracy news, the chair of the UK's vaccine task force showed official sensitive government documents to a $200 a head event for elite US business venture capitalists last week. Kate Bingham, unsurprisingly a Boris Johnson appointee, showed guests a list of products which the government is set to invest in. Bingham spent an hour at the networking event for women in private equity held by a Massachusetts firm. Her PowerPoint included sensitive internal breakdown of vaccines. She said, "We haven't necessarily signed contracts with all of them so far, but they're all in our sights." Bingham combines the role with her job as managing director of SV Health Investors, a private equity firm. Like Baroness Dido fucking Harding, she's married to a Conservative MP, Treasury Minister Jessie Norman. She also went to school with Boris Johnson's sister Rachel. Of course, there's nothing at all wrong with this arrangement. Sir Alistair Graham, former chairman of the Committee on Standards in Public Life, said it was seriously ill-advised to give out this information. He went on, "It must raise a question as to whether she is a suitable person to be chairing a task force like that." Shadow Health Secretary John Ashworth said, "There are serious questions here as to why this information was shared at an international online conference where attendees paid for access. We're in a public health crisis, and this is information that ministers should have shared with the public." Of course, all John Ashworth needs to do if he's concerned is place a call to the government's anti-corruption champion, John Penrose MP. He'll look straight into it once he's dropped his missus, who happens to be Baroness Dido fucking Harding, at her work, where she has given away billions of her hard-earned pounds to Tory donor Serco for doing, well, not very much. You'd almost think that all these people were friends. Well, folks, that's the end of another week in Tory Britain. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please keep in mind it is satire, all based on verifiable facts, but satire nonetheless. Toodaloo, DaviePHD.